Young Sherlock is about a 19-year-old Sherlock Holmes who finds himself entangled in a murder at Oxford that jeopardizes his freedom. His first case, tackled recklessly, leads him to uncover a far-reaching conspiracy that alters his path forever. Hierro Fiennes Tiffin plays Sherlock Holmes, Donald Flynn plays James Moriarty, Zion Sang plays Zhao Wei, and features Colin Firth and directed by Guy Ritchie. There are 8 episodes and you can find it on Amazon Prime. This is Emmanuel with the new episode of Grab the Remote. I love Sherlock Holmes mysteries. I've seen the movies and I've read some of the books. And when I found out there was a new series on Prime, I had to check it out. And so here are my thoughts after watching the first episode. First impression. So the first episode opens up with young Sherlock in prison, and he's fighting one of the huge inmates. For those that watch Sherlock Holmes movies, they know that this is a pretty typical start to the first episode or movie. The episodes are around 50 minutes long, and so I consider the first part to be about the first 15 minutes. We learn that he's going to Oxford once he gets out of jail, but not to be a student, to be what they call a porter in training, which is basically the guy who cleans the bathrooms. Somewhere not far from Oxford, we see a burglary take place, and someone tries to steal some scrolls and kidnap an Asian princess, but they didn't know that she knows kung fu, so a pretty exciting first impression. Now, a defining moment. So the defining moment for me was when they went to a party uninvited, and the way they got in was by pretending to be the guys who are checking the invitations and the bouncer at the front whenever the real bouncer left. Once inside the party, they tricked themselves into acquiring a bottle and some glasses from the bar. When they were questioned by the guy who was hosting the party, they got into a verbal sparring match where the host of the party lost severely in front of some really nice-looking girls, and then a real fist fight broke out in which young Sherlock's new friend was thankfully a really good fighter. This scene really stood out to me because I liked the underdog coming out on top story in the scene, and it had all the classic elements of Sherlock Holmes that I know and love. Now, standout element. It had all the classic elements of a Sherlock Holmes movie with new characters. I think the new characters did a great job of playing their parts, and the first episode was what I would call a simple mystery to solve when compared with other Sherlock Holmes cases that I've seen. It was classic Sherlock Holmes with all the classic elements and still felt like a new story with new characters. Not boring, and I didn't feel the same as all the other ones, so that's good. They solved the case, avoided an explosion, and then right when you think they're in the clear, there's a murder, and everyone thinks that Sherlock did it. So plenty of excitement and mystery. What keeps it from greatness? Nothing is really keeping this episode or series from greatness. I thoroughly enjoyed the first episode, and even though there's a lack of actors that I recognize, everyone still does a great job, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, so props up to the new cast and crew. Who's it for? I think the series is good for anyone who likes mystery or thrills. I highly recommend it because it's good for all types of audiences, including family audiences, minus ones that have really little kids. Now, hot take. This is kind of a spoiler, so plug your ears if you don't want anything spoiled. The first episode had what you would call a simple mystery to solve, which I'm hoping with each new episode comes a more difficult mystery. But the episode does leave us with not just a case to solve of a thief, but the next episode leaves a case to solve for murder. I have to watch the next episode in order to learn who killed the math teacher. So if each episode has a new mystery and introduces some new characters, I think this series will be loads of fun and excitement to watch. So let's get to the score and final thoughts. This rendition of Sherlock when he was younger has all the classic elements of the Sherlock movies that we know and love. If the first episode is a simple mystery that we get to build up on, and each episode in the series has a new case to solve with new people, I think I'll be watching the entire series. The only way to know for sure would be to go on and watch the second episode to find out. So that's what I'm going to have to do. Based off the first episode so far, I'm giving this series an A, and I'm excited to watch the second episode in the series to see if it continues in the way that I hope and builds off of the excitement and momentum. So I will watch the second episode, and if it's good, I'll probably come back and give y'all my opinion on that or the whole series. Otherwise, this is Emmanuel with the Grab Some Popcorn podcast. This is Young Sherlock you could find on Amazon Prime, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Over and out.